So yeah, it wasn't just you. I'm not sure why.
Very strange. I never have to kind of go through so many hoops to get on. But anyways, good morning. This is Judge Alyssa Perez presiding over the 210th District Court Civil Docket for August 31st, 2022. All matters being heard today are being heard in accordance with all emergency orders and directives regarding COVID-19. In addition to that, we are streaming all matters live via YouTube for public viewing. Mr. Marufo, let's go ahead and start with that last case, Mr. Darnell's case, please.
In cause number 2020 DCV 2167, Joseph H. Dorgan versus William Aaron Skinner et al. Announcement of counsel, please.
Morning, Your Honor. Adam Cetra here on behalf of the plaintiff, Mr. Dorgan.
Okay, great.
Good morning, Your Honor. Eric Darnell on behalf of the defendants, present and ready to proceed today with a status dismissal hearing in order to give the plaintiff time to retain counsel, and it sounds like he's retained counsel.
Yes, that was the main thing. I think I was just going to ask if Mr. Dorgan was here physically, because I think he was here last time at the last setting. So for my purposes, let me see, your entry was yesterday, Mr. Cetra, so I don't imagine you all have been in contact. In terms of the DWAP, we'll not be going forward on that today, but I will set it for a scheduling status conference in 30 days, Mr. Darnell. You all will both get the setting for that, and then we'll see where we are at that point.
That's fine, Judge. At that time, I'm sorry, this is Eric Darnell. I'm sorry, do you want us to be able to work through and provide you with just a trial date and when we think we'll be ready at that time?
Well,
or
let me ask, if you all are ready, I can give you one today if you're ready to proceed that way. I didn't know if you needed to get a little more caught up before we look at an actual trial date.
No, I don't want to push plaintiff's counsel. No, he's just now getting into it. I don't know how familiar he is, so that's not right.
I'm all right with it if we can get, I mean, depends. I think that the dates are pretty far out that are available. So we have some deadlines to kind of count back from, and so we can stay on track for and get this case on track moving along.
So then, Myrna, will you give me a date for, let's see, what are we, August? Let's do August 2023. We'll do the full year just as if we had been resetting this fresh. And so we will send the scheduling order. I think I want to say August 18th, Myrna, if you'll just double check me on that. If you all will include your agreed mediator with the scheduling order, have it returned to the court in 2 weeks, then we won't be here at that hearing and we'll just get our dates. If you all need hearings outside of those dates, please email the court with your pleading and your request for hearing and we'll get it scheduled.
Should I pick a date in August 4th also?
Okay, let's just do the 18th. Thank you, Myrna. All right, anything else at this time?
Not from planning, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Darnell, for your patience. Mr. Cetra, just when you all get the order. Thank you very much.
Okay. I can't hear anybody. I guess we'll get the notice so I can check. Anyway, okay.
All right,
thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, who's next?
In cause number 2020 BCV 3543, Francisco J. Cota and Patricia Cota versus EP Vida LLC. Announcement of counsel, please.
Your Honor, Mike Shane on behalf of the plaintiffs.
Corey Hoagland for the defendants.
Gentlemen, we're here, final civil pretrial, and we've got a trial on September 16th. I feel like we've talked about something in that trial. Are you all ready?
My client's trying to finalize a contract with the city of El Paso to do an airport development for a couple of $100 million. Mr. Shane's client is one of the people who financed the efforts to get that deal put together. A final term sheet was sent by the city to my client, was gone through and sent back to the city. They're meeting on Friday to try to finalize that, my client and the director of economic development for the city. And they'll present it to the city council next week for approval. If we get put to trial and get a judgment against us, I suspect the city will stop negotiating with us and the deal will die, and so will the company.
Your Honor, we'd ask that we set this for a status hearing in 60 days. And if they haven't got the deal done by then, we'll ask that you set that for a trial.
Yeah, I feel like this is where we were. I mean, maybe it's, taken some incremental steps forward, but where we were at the last continuance, which is why I asked, because we set it for September. I think maybe anticipating this was going to be resolved. It doesn't really bother me to put this down for a status in 60 days. And Mr. Holtman, you're good with it.
Judge, I think it would, I think Mr. Shane's clients will end up getting paid if they let this deal get put together. Having said that, I mean, they're dealing with the city of El Paso, and frankly, this is not I don't find this that unusual. The city just never seems to get stuff done on this point, but my client seems to think that they're going to get a contract. Once the term sheet's done and the term sheet's approved by the city, it'll take them another 30 to 45 days to get the contracts put together. Once the contracts are put together and signed, my client will get permanent financing, and that's when the interim financing that was provided by Mr. Shane's clients will get paid.
Okay.
So I'm very hopeful that my client seems very positive about this. His company's in Dallas. He's from El Paso. He went to Burgess High School, so he's a straight shooter, as all Burgess Mustangs.
I went to Irvin. I don't know. I don't know about that.
Well, I'm an old Mustang myself. He seems pretty positive that they're going to get this deal done. And he's concerned about he's very much aware of the case. I get feedback from him. But he's also at the mercy of the city and the way they do things. I don't mind. He provides an update directly to investors every few months. When Mr. Shane presses a button, he gets a quick response and gets a status update. I do think this deal's going to come together. My client seems pretty positive about it. I think 60 days, we'll know for sure. Really, I think that Mr. Shane's correct. And as far as I'm concerned, if you find a date, if we don't get this done, I mean, I'm not going to stand in the way of Mr. Shane getting his trial for sure. But
okay, so we're going to come back on October 26th for a status at 10 a.m. I guess we can make a notation there, Mr. Hernandez, that if we don't have some type of movement on resolution or disposition, if we haven't already received it, maybe we'll get paperwork from you and everything's all fixed and wonderful. But at that point, then I will need to set a trial, and we'll probably be looking at July, maybe August of next year. So we'll cancel the 9/14, obviously, and 9/16 settings by agreement. With the anticipation, if we're not there at the next round, we will set a trial setting again. Okay.
understood.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
Y'all are excused. Who's next?
Thank you.
In cause number 2020 DCV 2461, Amber Esmeralda Garcia versus El Shardi Transportation LLC and Fidel Resendez. Announcement of council, please.
Adrian Guardiola of the Guardiola Law Firm, here for the plaintiff.
Marisa Ibarra Williams on behalf of defendants.
Okay, so we're set for final civil pretrial. We also had a motion for continuance that was filed, a joint motion for continuance on August 5th. I asked that it be set for a hearing so I could hear from you all. Your mediation deadline on the last motion for continuance was last week. And having read the motion for continuance, I'm not really sure what the holdup is or what the delay is. I'm not inclined to grant the continuance. So what's going on with this mediation?
So, Judge, it was my calendar. I was in Harris County for a trial that began in August. And before then, I had different trial setting, one out in kind of Big Spring, Texas. And so because of that, when we were trying to I needed the deposition of plaintiff to finalize settlement authority. It is set for September 7th. And that was only because of my trial calendar. So I'm the reason for that particular delay. But when I realized that we weren't going to be able to get mediation, I was trying to get deposition and then mediation like the next day. But our mediators' calendars are very far out. So what I had suggested to Mr. Guardiola is let's do plaintiff's depo. And then maybe right after that, we can do informal settlement negotiations. And see if we can just get this case resolved, period. But because of the deadlines that were coming up, we wanted to inform the court of this particular hiccup because we were trying to settle that case, but it just didn't until after we started trial. And that's kind of what messed up my schedule.
So when did, which deposition? It's a plaintiff's deposition. When did you all schedule it? When did you make the agreement to have it set, I guess, next week?
Probably whenever we filed the motion, because I think that's where we were in the process of exchanging dates, and I was scheduled to be out through the month of August. So I think we actually filed the motion as soon as we confirmed all the deposition dates and the fact that we couldn't get into mediation until October.
Well, so that's problematic, right? Because if you're talking about the August motion for continuance, then we went from May 17th until August 5th to figure out we needed to get things scheduled.
Well, we also needed discovery, Your Honor. So we did get that discovery up to either June or July that we got the supplemental discovery. And so that was part of who we're waiting for. So I wanted to make sure she had completed her treatment so that we didn't have any more issues. And we knew that the case was really ready for final evaluation. And so once we got that discovery, we were able to go ahead and schedule the deposition.
So for now, I am not going to rule on the motion for continuance. I really feel like things have been delayed, and I appreciate counsel's unavailability, I guess, but I feel like we were in the same place in many ways back in May. And now, yes, people get busy. I don't know if we prioritized this or if there were other factors, but this is not the first motion for continuance. It was the same agreed motion for continuance back in May. So no, I'm not going to grant it at this time. I'm not telling you I'm denying it. I'm not granting it. You got your September 7th deposition, yes, right? And you all may be looking to dispose of it?
Correct. That's the intention, is to try to, all I need is to answer some questions that weren't answered in discovery, and then go ahead and try to see if we can informally just resolve it between the two.
I would like to bring you back immediately after the 7th, but court is not available that week because we're out at our annual conference. So I'm just going to leave the docket call date. I'll rely on you all to let us know if you need to, in a sense, readdress the motion for continuance, or if you have a resolution. Okay, but I will not be able to see you until the docket call. Okay.
No, I understand, Judge, and that's our intention, is to try to get this resolved amongst ourselves. I just needed a little bit more information, and I think we'll be done with it after that.
Okay. I appreciate your efforts, guys. We'll see you on the 14th.
Thank you.
Take care.